Greetings, MMORPGers and MMONFTers, and welcome to our impressions of Life Beyond. If you're unfamiliar with Life Beyond, it's a new MMO in development by Darewise, and it will primarily focus on cooperative game features, which means there won't be any open world PvP, and instead, the focus is on team tactics, cooperation, and building societies. The team once described the game as a socio-tech metaverse, and it plans to be play to earn. So let's hop in and see what Life Beyond is all about. Currently, Life Beyond is in open alpha, so if this video tickles your pickles, jump over to Life Beyond and give the game a try for yourself. But I was awarded early access when I took part in an airdrop, and since then, I've played for quite a few hours. So after you create your character in the limited character creation screen, you will load in and you'll notice you're here in the lobby. The lobby is where you're going to make friends, or at least you would if the chat system worked. I'm not sure if global chat is broken, but I've never seen anyone respond to what I've said, and I've never noticed any other conversations, so I'm assuming that the chat system just isn't working in the current build. I quickly got acquainted with the main hub because it's pretty straightforward. You have an area where you can purchase some items and an area where you can look at your weapons. You have an area where you can visit your apartment, which you really can't do anything in, and then finally you have the mission hub. It's also important to note that you can access the mission hub through your menu as well, so you don't actually have to walk over to the mission hub at all. The menus are pretty straightforward, and there really isn't anything fun to look at. There's no loot drops, cosmetics, or anything neat to keep you occupied, though they do have a placeholder market for when the market goes live. When you're in the lobby, your intention is to create groups for the content to come. The maximum team size was 4 players, and it was difficult to find a full team when I queued up. And half the time, when I created a team through random invites, players would drop out of the mission. So, most of what I did was play solo missions. Once you've found an instance to join, which you'll have to look for one even if you queue solo, you'll be taken to the class selection screen, and there are 4 classes to choose from: the combat medic, the sharpshooter, the trooper, and the guardian. Almost everyone I've ever teamed with chooses the trooper because none of the other classes do much damage. As the resident glutton for punishment, I tried sticking it out with the guardian, and since he's a tank, his damage is low, but he barely works as a tank because he can't pull aggro very well and he can't take or deal damage all that effectively. I could taunt a group of enemies for a second or two and throw up a personal shield, but apart from that, I just painted enemies with my wet noodle shotgun and died over and over again. The sharpshooter could put out some good damage as a sniper and had some really fun abilities. I especially liked the launch pad for exploration, and of course running away like a little girl, but soloing on a sharpshooter wasn't effective. Possibly the worst of the 4 classes was the combat medic, which has no offensive capabilities at all, making it just a regular medic with 0 combat specialty. Because you can't kill anything with the combat medic, you can't play the medic solo, which makes it a purely group-oriented class and really a terrible idea for a class, even if you manage to get in a group. That leaves you with the trooper, whose fast and powerful assault rifle isn't the greatest weapon to dispatch enemies, but it's the best option you got. There are some really cool abilities for each class that could be a lot of fun if the damage output was adequate and team members would stop falling off the floating platforms, but for the most part, you're going to be using your main weapon, which again, doesn't hit very hard for most of the classes. There are several different kinds of missions, from killing monsters to finding plants, and you can change the difficulty to be more difficult if you just happen to love bullet sponges and want to see as many of them as possible. But really, the truth is, Life Beyond is nowhere near polished. If I'm honest, it's far better than I expected. The world and art style is actually pretty good, and there's a lot to explore, even on just that one single level, and you can find and harvest nectar plants, which you'll need if you want to eventually buy any of the gear in the lobby marketplace. The combat, though, is poorly tuned. For the most part, the third-person shooter play is pretty good and has potential. This could be one of the better blockchain games in development right now. Really, the main thing that gives me hope is the fact that Darewise is letting all players in for testing. You don't need to purchase anything to help test Life Beyond, which is uncommon these days. Everybody wants you to purchase an item or become a founder or pre-order, and this especially goes for a lot of blockchain titles that want you to be an NFT owner just to get early access. Darewise even airdropped early access keys for free to their community before they opened up the game to an open alpha. It actually makes me a little optimistic that these developers want their game to get better and they're not forcing players to pay for an unfinished product to help make that unfinished product better. Life Beyond will continue their testing until Alpha 2, which will start in early 2023. In Alpha 2, players will be testing the building features and harvesting, and that means there is a lot of time between now and early 2023 for them to get the game in a better state. It will also give us some time to understand more about how the NFTs will affect the economy in Life Beyond, because Life Beyond intends to be a free-to-play, play-to-earn game on launch. So, if you're a curious MMO gamer, but you're hesitant because the game has blockchain, it's okay to take a wait-and-see approach, or just come back and check out our new episodes of MMONFT, as we're going to be covering Life Beyond more as development progresses. So, the too long didn't watch version. Life Beyond is definitely an alpha, and it has a long way to go until launch. But there is a pretty solid core game loop there, even if it needs a lot of balancing and polish to feel worth the effort to play. If you want to check out more of my impressions of Life Beyond, head on over to MMORPG.com and read all about it. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.